Good afternoon, everyone. Just send me a thumbs up or a good afternoon if you can hear me and if you can see me. Send any of the comments and then we'll be good to go. Okay. We have Bittu again here. Good afternoon, Bittu. Just any one of you, I'm just waiting for 2-3 comments and then we'll be good to go. All right. So, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Raj Malhotra's IAS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana, and as you know, today is the day for weekly current affairs discussion, 2:30 p.m. Geography, Environment, and Science and Technology. Today, we'll not be covering many topics. It would be a very short discussion, but we are taking one of the reports and one of the amendments from environment. So, both the topics are from environment point of view. But let me remind you that we have linked this initiative with Seize the Mains, जो हमारा daily answer writing का initiative चलता है Monday to Friday on our website and YouTube. ये करंट अफेयर सेशन उसके साथ लिंक कर दिया गया है. सो द टॉपिक इज टॉट यू हियर. 2:30 बजे आपको टॉपिक पढ़ाया जाता है, उससे रिलेटेड मेंस का एक क्वेश्चन दिया जाता है जिसको आपने आंसर हमारी वेबसाइट पे करना होता है एंड हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स उसको इवैल्यूएट भी करते हैं. हर एक्सपर्ट्स इवैल्यूएट योर आंसर्स entirely free of cost. So if you have not written any answers till date, you can start writing answers, join this initiative. So the index for today is first of all Decriminalization of Indian Forest Act 1927, and the second one is Sustainable Development Goals Report, SDG report. Both the topics are really important, especially from mains point of view. So Seize the Mains का जो question है, the link to this question is there in the description below. After watching this live session, if you click on the link in the description box below, it will directly take you to our website and there this question will be seen. And the discussion for this, इसका आंसर कैसे लिखा जाना चाहिए या सैम्पल आंसर कैसा होना चाहिए, the discussion for this will take place day after tomorrow 9 p.m. on our YouTube channel. So what is the question? Enumerate the features of the Indian Forest Act. If you have covered environment, you must have read about Indian Forest Act. Also discuss the impacts of the recently proposed amendments in the foreseeable future. So कुछ amendments लाई गई हैं, कुछ amendments लाने की कोशिश की जा रही है Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change के through. And what are these amendments और इनका impact क्या होने वाला है? So that will be discussed today, and then you can answer this question in 150 words at rajiasacademy.com. So if you see here, let me check the comments first. Yes, Vasu, I'll get back to you. Welcome everybody, welcome again. It's taking time, but I think, yep. So if you see the Google News column, see I always recommend कि आपने कोई भी updates किसी issue से related या कोई भी topic, if you're preparing for UPSC or state civil services, type it in the Google area, Google it and go to this news column. Is this visible? If you go to this news column, all the latest occurrences or all the latest headlines regarding that topic will appear. So as you can see, this is a news from News 18, then we have from HT Hindustan Times, and then we have from Indian Express. जो Forest Act है, Forest Act 1927, and all newspapers, all websites are talking about it. So what is the Indian Forest Act of 1927? देखिए, फॉरेस्ट कंजर्वेशन से रिलेटेड, ट्राइब्स के एक्ट से रिलेटेड 3-4 एक्ट्स हैं and you need to understand them for your exam, whether it's for prelims or for mains. In your prelims also you can be asked कि ये provision कौन से act का है. So first one is the Indian Forest Act of 1927, then we have the Forest Rights Act of 1980, and then we have that 2006 का जो Scheduled Tribes Dwellers Act है. So that is for conservation of forest and for protection of rights of scheduled tribes. जो tribes forest में रह रही हैं 75 years और more से या ज़्यादा से, so उनके rights preserve करने के लिए. So before sitting for any exam, make sure that you know the differences between all of them and you are also aware of the current affairs. So Indian Forest Act 1927, it is the umbrella legislation that provides for the protection and management of forest. Obviously Forest Rights Act नाम है इसका, Indian Forest Act नाम है, so it will provide for the protection and management of forest. ट्रांजिट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस, जो कि माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूस होता है, फॉरेस्ट से आपको जो भी रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल होते हैं, एंड टिम्बर. What is timber? When you cut down trees, whatever wood is available for commercial purposes, that is timber. And the duly leviable duty that can be imposed on timber, उस पर क्या आप taxes लगा सकते हैं, and other forest produce, whatever like miscellaneous forest produce is there. So Forest Act इन सब चीज़ों को cover करता है. If somebody doesn't comply with the rules under this, so they can be punished also. And this is entirely the source of our discussion. This is entirely the point of our discussion today, that they can be punished and what are the punishments that were given earlier and what is the status right now. So this is the Umbrella Act for Protection of Forest Resources, Forest Biodiversity, whether it is plant or animal, and wildlife of the country. It also includes providing mechanism to ensure notification of reserved, protected and village forests, protection of forest resources, forest biodiversity and wildlife of the country. See, there are 3 types of forest included under this act. So if there is a question ki reserved forest, protected forest and village forest की categorization कहाँ पे available है, so this is under this act. Also, when you are answering this question, enumerate the features of Indian Forest Act 1927. ना सिर्फ आपके environment के notes काम आएंगे, but you also have to write about the enumeration of types of forest. कितने types of forest ऐसे enumerated है. So what is the need and what is the amendment about? They say कि जो हम punishments दे रहे हैं tree cutting के लिए या और minor crimes के लिए, they are not good enough, they are not up to the mark, and काफ़ी जो बुरे crimes होते हैं उनके लिए भी same ही punishment है. So one thing what does it do is, एक तो जो आपका जस्टिस का प्रोसेस है उसको स्लो डाउन कर देता है कि किसी ने सिर्फ एक ट्री काटा हो, दूसरे इंसान ने 10 ट्रीज कट डाउन कर दिए एंड स्मगल कर दिए. सो दोनों के लिए एक तो प्रोविजन सेम है, इट स्लोज डाउन द प्रोसेस ऑफ जस्टिस. सेकेंडली, इट इज़ नॉट वेरी ethical on our part to impose such restrictions on the people of that area. So the need is that to speed up the resolution of forest related violations, the amendments are aimed at decriminalizing. This is the word and this is the headline. Decriminalize किया जा रहा है कुछ crimes को. Sorry. जो relatively minor violations मानता है कोर्ट या जो मिनिस्ट्री है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट, वो कुछ violations को relatively minor consider करता है और उनको decriminalize किया जा रहा है, which could help in expeditious resolution of complaints. जो important complaints हैं, the important complaints can be taken earlier. It can reduce the compliance burden on citizens and rationalize penalties and subsequently prevent harassment of citizens. उनको decriminalize किया जा रहा है. जो जेल की penalty थी, that will not be imposed, only fine will be imposed from now on. Let's read this out. At times there are difficulties in differentiating between a major and minor offense. As I told you, between cutting one tree and cutting down 10 or more trees, there is a major difficulties between a major and minor offense, and because of that punishments are often not distinct. The punishment abhi tak jo thi, that was same under this act. So this abets habitual offenders to commit more crimes. What happens is, if a person commits one crime, he cuts just one tree, he knows that even if he cuts 10 trees, the punishment is the same. तो उसको punishment तो मिलनी है, but he is actually motivated to cut down 9 more trees. So this is just an example. And as there is same level of punishment for both first time repeat offender, hence it is required to incorporate differentiate penal provisions in the act by amending this 1927 act. So this was the need. Till now, is everything clear? Are you now aware of why decriminalization of certain acts is taking place? Give me a thumbs up quickly and then we'll move ahead. Okay, Ritu, Rohit. All right. So no doubts till now. So what is the amendment about? What is the detailed amendment? जिसके बारे में आपको सीज द मेंस के आंसर में भी लिखना है. What is the amendment? So they have classified minor offences कि कौन कौन से offences के लिए कुछ भी हम लोग stringent punishment नहीं देंगे. So the amendment seek to decriminalize offences like kindling, keeping or carrying fire in a reserved forest without permission. trespassing or pasturing cattle or causing any damage by negligence in felling a tree in a reserved forest. They also seek to decriminalize acts like leaving a burning fire kindled by the person in the vicinity of any tree reserved under section 30 or felling any trees or dragging timber to damage any reserved tree or permitting cattle to damage such tree. सी जो फॉरेस्ट dwellers होते हैं वो काफ़ी बारी आग जलाते हैं फॉरेस्ट में. सो इफ़ यू हैव अ हाउस दैट इज़ इन अ फॉरेस्ट एरिया, इज इट पॉसिबल टू यू फॉर यू टू सर्वाइव विंटर्स विदाउट आग जलाए बिना क्या पॉसिबल है सर्वाइव करना? इट इज़ नॉट ऑलवेज पॉसिबल, एंड दैट किंडलिंग ऑफ फायर इज़ अ क्राइम. इट अमाउंट्स टू लाइक 6 months of jail term and like 500 rupees fine or more than that, and the जो punishment है that varies for all such crimes. And there is trespassing by cattle also. For example, if a person has a lot of goats under his ownership, if one goat crosses the legalized boundary and it trespasses the forest area, so is that person liable to a punishment every time a goat crosses? So ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं to keep the to keep these rights intact, in सबके rights secure करने के लिए, and जो छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं which can be handled through communication and local community की involvement से जो कि मैनेज की जा सकती है, उनको इस एक्ट से हटाया जा रहा है. सो दे आर बीइंग decriminalized. So earlier they were punishable with imprisonment for a term which could even extend to 6 months. So that's a long time for acts like these. We do have the issue of forest fires in India. कहीं जो communities या जो लोग forest area में रहते हैं वो कई बारी आग जलती छोड़ देते हैं. That should be classified as a crime because it leads to a very large number of forest fires. बहुत सारे जंगलों में आग लग जाती है. But this is not the right way, giving a jail term of 6 months directly. Plus, it is very hard to spot that who left that fire in that forest area. So, these things have to be decriminalized. They are supposed to be decriminalized by the Ministry of Environment, and other provisions will come in. So, the substantive changes will remove the provision of imprisonment, and the offences will now only remain punishable with a fine. फाइन लगाया जा सकता है बट जेल में नहीं भेजा जा सकता. सो दैट इज अ वेलकम स्टेप. नाउ व्हाट इज द ऑपोजिशन? नाउ दिस फ्रॉम हियर द पिक्चर गेट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इफ यू सी व्हाट इज द डेट मेंशन्ड हियर, 1927. 1927 में पार्लियामेंट वाज नॉट इन फंक्शनिंग. इंडियन पार्लियामेंट वाज नॉट इन फंक्शनिंग. Indian Parliament came into functioning as we see it today after attaining independence, after the constitution came into picture. So the opposition says that first of all, ये जो act है, this came into picture before independence. So central government doesn't have the right to amend it or to impose it on the states. Otherwise also, not all states follow this particular act. अपनी अपनी states ने अपने अपने forest acts बनाए हुए हैं. Most of the states have their own personal forest acts, so this will not create a major change. So that's the opposition, and there are only some states which actually abide by this act, जो कि इस act को follow करते हैं, and these are Haryana, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Bengal and Bihar. So this is not a pan-India act, though this is an act, but it is not followed by all the states. These are the only states which actually follow the act. Other states have their own forest act. So the center's move is actually an infringement on the rights of the states, and here your federalism comes into picture. Recently in Seize the Mains also we have taken a question on federalism. If you have not answered it, go back to our website, answer that question on federalism. Keep practicing so that you get better every day. The next opposition is कि jail term was there in the act, but this this imprisonment due to such offences was not taking place. अगर jail term बोली गई थी, if the jail term was written in the act, then it was preventing people from committing such acts. So this is an environmental there is this environmental lawyer called Mr. Ritvik Datta. He has given this argument कि अगर आप jail term को हटा ही देंगे and you substitute it with a fine which is very less in number, and that also the terms are not clear, so people will actually feel motivated, उनको डर खत्म हो जाएगा. So more and more destruction of forest resources, more and more cutting down of trees, and more forest fires will take place. So this is the entire issue. And a good news for you is that after studying this topic, if you feel that something is right or wrong with the thing, then you can, as a citizen, share your views and comments with the Environment Ministry by July 31. Just go to their website and file a review, send a comment or send a recommendation. It is open to recommendations till July 31. So before moving on to the next topic, just give me a thumbs up, just send me a thumbs up if you are clear with this topic and if we can move ahead. Yes, Rohit, Vasu. Job update with Meera. She's a regular viewer of our channel, especially the videos that I'm taking. Thank you, Meera, and same to you. Shreyans, Jasmeet. Any doubts or anything that you want to be repeated from our end, just write it in the comment section quickly so that we can move ahead. There are just 2 topics that we have for discussion. So we'll be done in like 10-15 minutes. So we can take doubts right now. Shri Hari, yes, okay. So, the average viewership of our videos of this current affairs session, 2:30 p.m. current affairs session, average viewership is around 800 to 1000 in less than 24 hours. So, if there are 1000 people or even 900 people watching this session, I want that at least 100 people out of you should be sharing your answers by tomorrow. Just, take that brave step, write the answer. Everything is available to you. Even if you write a wrong answer and get low marks, there is nothing wrong about that. That's how you improve. So keep practicing with us. Click on the link in the description after we are done with this session. Now, moving on, there is this Sustainable Development Goals report that has come out, and it does not present a very good picture of our environment or of the global situation. So Sustainable Development Goals, what are they? We'll read about them, we'll study about them. First thing that you have to keep in mind is that, this, first of all, this has been there in current affairs. Prelims में आपसे हो सकता है question ना पूछा जाए, or you might be asked about Sustainable Development Goals only. But about this report, you might not be asked. But for mains, since you have to prepare for mains also, note down and try to understand the points that we are discussing here, because you can use them in your answers. You can use them to support your arguments in your answers. So this is from Down to Earth. As you can see, this is the news from 7 July 2022. All 17 Sustainable Development Goals set at the UN General Assembly in 2015 are in jeopardy due to the COVID-19 pandemic and increase in the number of conflicts across the world. So this is a very, wake up call. 17 individual goals hai. We have 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And here is a list of all of them. We'll not read out all of them. The PDF for this discussion will be there on our Telegram channel by evening today itself. So you can download, and if you can memorize them all, then it's good. Otherwise, there is no need to memorize. Just remember the important ones. So what is sustainable development? First of all, let's start with that. Sustainable development hoti kya hai? The first word that it contains is development. So there is growth taking place, there is development taking place, people are having more job opportunities, more economic prosperities there, people are growing with time, they are increasing their living standards. But since the resources on our earth are limited, हमारे पास अर्थ पे लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं, सो वी कैन नॉट यूज ऑल द रिसोर्सेज ओवरनाइट. हम एक ही दिन में, एक ही साल में या एक ही डेकेड में सारे रिसोर्सेज यूज नहीं कर सकते. अदरवाइज व्हाट विल बी लेफ्ट फॉर द फ्यूचर जनरेशंस. So there is this concept of sustainable development जो कि 20th century के end में erupt हुआ था. Now it has been people have been taking it very seriously on the global level, because global warming can be felt by all of us, climate change can be felt by all of us, Changes in rainfall patterns have been felt by all of us, and increase in number of natural disasters, चाहे वो cyclones हैं, चाहे वो earthquakes हैं, चाहे वो heat waves हैं. So increase in number of natural disasters has been seen by all of us. So this sustainable development as a concept is very important. Don't just see through it. Don't see through such reports. Take them very seriously if you are an aspiring bureaucrat. So the United Nations itself defines sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So resources have to be saved for the future generations also. What does it include? Harmonizing three elements. तीन चीज़ों को balance करके चलना है. First thing is your economic development, economic growth. That yes, we will grow as a global economy. हम development support करेंगे, urbanization, industrialization, whatever activities, artificial intelligence, IoT, whatever we want to carry out, we will do that. So first thing is your economic growth. Second is social inclusion. Take all parts of society together. All sections of society should be included. There should not be a lot of gap between rich and poor. Especially, doctrine of trusteeship. If you have read about philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, you can use the doctrine of trusteeship in your environment-based answers or questions. And the third one is environmental protection. This covers your climate change, your global warming, everything. So here we are done with the definition of sustainable development and the sustainable development goals. What are they? So the United Nations in 2015, they came out with this transforming our world document. एक document release किया गया and उसमें 17 goals were given. 17 goals के under 169 targets है. In case you are preparing for other exams also, this number is very important. That 17 goals के under 169 targets have been enumerated, and this agenda, before sustainable development goals, we had other targets. These were the Millennium Development Goals, which were adopted in 2000 and were to be achieved by 2015, but obviously they were not achieved. So now we are in 2022 and the target to achieve sustainable development goals is 2030. So सिर्फ 8 साल बचे हैं, and now we are seeing the progress, that how far have we come in achieving sustainable development goals, what is the present picture. So that's why we are having this discussion today. So sustainable development goals, इनको डिज़ाइन इस तरीके से किया गया है that they provide a shared blueprint, they provide a structure, a picture for future, for peace and prosperity, for people and the planet. Now and into the future, not just present but also in the future. They recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality and things like that. If we focus on these sustainable development goals, ये डिज़ाइन इस तरीके से किए गए हैं कि अगर ये पिक्चर में आ गए, ये इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिए सब कंट्रीज़ ने अपने अपने एंड पर, सो वील हैव नो पॉवर्टी, देयर विल बी नो पीपल हु विल बी हंग्री, everybody will have access to good health and well-being, education, job opportunities. So that is an ideal world that we are targeting towards, and let's see what is the progress. So recently Sustainable Development Goals Report 2022 was released. It provides a global overview. It includes all countries but a global overview data of the progress on the implementation of on the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. And now we'll move on to the key findings. What are the key findings of Sustainable Development Goals report? But before that, if everything is clear, just send me a thumbs up from there. Abhinav, Sustainable Development Goals are 17 in number. Actually, Sustainable Development Goals Index India भी release करता है. India का भी एक index आता है where we see where are all states standing. कि अगर मणिपुर है, महाराष्ट्र है, how are these states performing with respect to achieving Sustainable Development Goals? And so it is released by the United Nations itself. Sharaina. So they check कि यार कि काफ़ी की जो डिफरेंट स्टेट्स हैं उनकी क्या परफॉर्मेंस है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू अदर स्टेट्स. That time all sustainable development goals were not taken into picture, but now whatever India का जो भी index आता है, it is compiled by नीति आयोग and Ministry of Statistics and program implementation का data आता है. So it takes like 16 goals into picture, because your 17th goal is about partnership of all countries to achieve these goals. So partnership for the goals. So all countries have to be included. Yes, Kanu, it is released by Niti Aayog in India, but Niti Aayog does not prepare the data. The data is compiled by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Niti Aayog is not carrying out any data analysis on that part. So what are the key findings? See, you can just use them in your mains answers. So we'll quickly go through them. First of all, meeting the deadline. The report states that urgent action is needed to achieve the 2030 deadline of Sustainable Development Goals. So it is a wake-up call. एक alarm bell raise कर दी है कि जो अभी तक हमारा progress है अगले 8 साल में कोई भी अच्छी picture नहीं दिखती है. So we have to take an urgent action to achieve these goals. There are global issues affecting Sustainable Development Goals. There is a spelling mistake here. So what are the issues? What do you think have been the issues which have impacted Sustainable Development Goals? कि अगर ये issues ना होते तो शायद हम लोग Sustainable Development Goals achieve करने में थोड़े से आगे होते. What can be these issues? First of all, we had this COVID-19 pandemic. Economies were suffering, people were losing jobs. जो भी welfare measures governments carry out कर रही थी all around the world or in their own countries, they were under a lot of stress. So okay, I'll take these doubts later. So they were under a lot of stress. Welfare schemes जो थी, they came under a lot of stress. The governments were losing their economic balance. So the first one is the COVID-19 pandemic and increase in the number of conflicts. We saw that Taliban acquired Afghanistan some time back, and then we saw this Russia-Ukraine war also, and there is this climate crisis also. So increase in, so because of these activities, because of these events, the attainment of these goals has become hard. The pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war have already led to lowering of global economic growth projections by 0.9 percentage point. That's close to 1%. अगर global economy को कोई 1% तक hurt करता है, so that is a major shift. And you know what happens? When there is lack of money, और when there is lack of social security, governments initiative नहीं लेती है climate change को रोकने का या green initiatives develop करने का, because these are the things which can be developed if their populations are being fed. If their populations are hungry, why will a government support climate action? They'll try to spend their money in providing more job opportunities, और industries lay down करना चाहेंगे, job opportunities देना चाहेंगे, लोगों को खाना पहुंचाना चाहेंगे. So that takes a priority. Plus due to this war, inflation has occurred, global inflation has occurred, बहुत सारी supplies बंद हो गई हैं. So attainment of these goals has become harder. So it is harming more ways than one, because food and fuel prices have gone up. You know, India was also impacted. We were talking about crude oil, we were talking about edible oil for the past few months. So food and fuel prices have gone up. It has hampered the global supplies and trade, and rolling the financial markets. That has also taken place. So what are the impacted areas? The cascading and intersecting issues impact the environment, food and nutrition, health, peace and security, as well as education, according to UN statement on the report. There is more greenhouse gas emission and they are set to rise in the coming years. You know, we had targets कि इतने % से ज़्यादा हमने greenhouse gas emissions नहीं करना है, because global warming has to be controlled. But now greenhouse gas emissions are increasing. Countries are moving towards saving themselves from the shocks that have been experienced in the past, and which are continued by countries to be experienced even now. So economic shocks and poverty are coming. So all these goals, attainment of all these 17 goals has got tough. So this is what the report is about. These were the key findings, and the findings are not happy in nature. Whenever India comes out with the reports, जो Sustainable Development Goal Index India का होता है, we'll discuss that also. But for now, This is what you have to remember and use them in your mains answer. Quote this report in your mains answer, quote all the sustainable development goals in your mains answer, and as an individual also take these issues seriously. So if there are any doubts, just let me know in the comment section. Nisar, I think it's Tamil Nadu. And in UTs, it's Chandigarh. Yes, Rohit, any doubts from your side? So these were the two topics for today. The PDF will be there on our website in some time, on our Telegram channel in some time. So click on the link in the description, go back to Seize the Mains question, and we'll see you at 9 PM for the discussion of Seize the Mains. Take care and keep working hard. Stay tuned.